And I got something open in the background. And we're going to go to, oh, while you're waiting for me, open up REPL, open up that Java worksheet on Google Classroom. I moved it to the top of the class assignment feed, classroom feed. We're going to steal some code out of there. So I'm going to go to my REPLs, and I want to go to Pong Day 1. Beautiful. And boom, 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 boom. Just takes me a couple minutes to get started here. And, and boom, 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 boom. Give me a couple minutes. I'm getting there. All right. So let me know when you guys are ready. I think I'm finally ready. And you say, everybody all right? All right. Good, 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 good. All right. So what I want to do is I want to center mouse wheel on, looks like a Chrome icon, but it's a REPL icon. And I want to create a new REPL. Is there a way to create a new REPL? Boom. Create a new REPL. And we're going to call this Pong Day 2. So we're able to center mouse wheel on the REPL logo, create a new one called Pong Day 2. Bam. So you should have two tabs open. Take all the code on Pong Day 1, Control A, Control C, Control A, Control V, and paste it. Go into your JavaScript, Control A, Control C, and paste it. So your Pong Day 2 should be what we did yesterday. How are we doing? Were you able to make that run? So all I did was just copy over all the code from day 1 to day 2. So it should run just like we did yesterday. Brian, I left you yesterday and it was running. That was your assignment to make it run.
Yeah.
What's that?
I didn't get it.
With delete. So in the JavaScript code, delete the where it says test walls, delete some stuff for until you can make it run. All right. So if we're dealing with a paddle today, you need to be able to make it run.
Where'd you paste everything?
Say it again.
Where'd you paste everything? Let me see.
Where I paste everything,
Yeah.
I copied everything on the HTML page. I just went Control A, Control V, and then the JavaScript. I copied all the code that was empty into the JavaScript. All right. Now, as Brian figures that out, anyone else having problems? And you say, yes, no, maybe. It should be running. And no. So I need to talk about math then. Everyone's favorite subject. So Brian will help you out in a couple minutes. But here's where I want to be. I really want to take over your screen, but I know some people are working. Look up here, please. Even those folks doing yesterday's work. Okay. So here's our canvas. Okay. We're going to create a rectangle. Where's the registration point for a rectangle? Hasn't changed since Code HS. Go ahead, Colin.
You're pointing at someone else.
I know.
The lower left-hand corner.
Is it lower left-hand corner or upper right-hand corner?
think it's lower left hand, but I might be wrong, as always.
All right. Welcome to the club, man. When you get married, you're always wrong. Graham, what do you think it is?
I was gonna say top left.
Top left, right? So if it was text, it would be lower left. But for an object, it's going to be upper right. Upper left. So for no, so upper left-hand corner. And when we make a rectangle, when we make one of these, we need to know an X position, a Y position, a width, and a height. Now, we're going to have our mouse. I don't know what a mouse looks like. I'm going to use a crappy looking arrow. Mouse. So when we move the mouse, do we want the mouse to move the registration point? So, or do we want the mouse to move halfway? In other words, like this is my rectangle, when it moves, or do we want a rectangle to move like this? Say something smart. Do we want it to move the registration point, or do we want it to move halfway through the paddle? What do you think? Nick, what do you think the answer is going to be? Halfway. So we got to think about then what are called translations. So halfway. So when we move this, we're thinking halfway. Well, that's going to be the X value. I don't know if it's the width, the half is width divided by 2. I don't know if it's plus or minus width divided by 2. We're going to find out. So when we move our mouse, we got to think, we're using halfway, so it's the X position. We're going to move it over half of the width. So width plus 2. It might be minus 2. I don't know. We're going to find out. So, but we have to make this is going to be really what the starting point of the rectangle is going to be. X minus width divided by 2 or X plus width divided by 2. Some other things we're going to do is, would it make sense if our mouse goes off the screen that the paddle goes off the screen? No. So we're going to lock the paddle to the screen. So we have to worry about what happens when our mouse is way over here, and what are we going to do? Likewise, when our mouse is way over here, what are we going to do to keep the paddle on the screen? There's a lot of constraints to this. Good job, Brian, getting that working. Everybody okay? So that's where we're going to be starting. All right, and let's have some fun. I'm having a bunch of fun now that we're actually looking at what I call real JavaScript. All right, so somewhere along the way, this thing's run our draw function. Good. In our draw function, then, above the draw function, we have our global variables. We have an R, an X, a Y, a DX, DY. Do you see those global variables at the top? And you say, yep, good. Let's create some more variables. What would you like to call the paddle's X position? PX. Is that what you said? PX. And let's just start it off at, I don't know, 50. What would you like to call the paddle's Y position? PY. And let's just start that at 200. And then what would you like to call the paddle's width? PW. And let's go 100. What would you like to call the paddle's height? PH? Is everybody okay knowing, and we're set equal to 20, knowing what these things are? If not, I'm just going to put in there like paddle. And this was ball. So PX, PY, PW, PH. Everybody comfortable with those 4 lines of code? We're going to use them. And boom. And I don't know what this is, how to get rid of it. I'm going to do that. Okay. Everybody feeling okay? As you guys know, I am a functioner. Okay. I kind of like to put everything in functions. That way I can separate out ideas. So inside the draw function, after I have like this is making the circle, I'm gonna give myself a couple enters and I'm gonna create a function, create paddle. Create paddle. So I'm gonna functionalize this. I didn't do too much. I could have done the same thing with a ball, but it's only like 6 lines of code. All right. Create paddle. I hear me talking. Beautiful. I have headphones in the closet if you need them. There, no. Hey, is that you, Grant, making that noise? No, he's playing on his phone. Never mind. Create paddle. Are you ready? So I'm thinking function. Create paddle, parens, open and close curly braces. And then on the document that was given to you, video game design, classwork, intro to JS, intro to JavaScript, there should be a rectangle on here somewhere. One that says rectangle, don't use this. That was just a real quick way of making a rectangle. And then another piece of code that says better rectangle. Do you see that? Like 1, 2, 3, 5 lines of code. Control C's copy. Let's come over here and paste. And try it again. Paste. Beautiful. I like to auto format that. So really the only line that we're going to alter is when we create the rectangle. PX, PY, PW, and PH. You should have a paddle hanging in the middle of the screen. You have some of the errors. What is going on with that? Did you change those to PX, PY? Yeah. Bill, you all right? Well, that's going to be an assignment you're going to do when you're out later on. Ruh-roh. Just go down a little bit. Go up a little bit. Keep going up. Change the PW to 100, or PY to 100. All right, now. Getting there. All right. Uh-oh. Boom, 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 boom. And we missed another day. Seems to be plugged in. Well, here's power. Where the Not a function like.
Oh, my God.
Create paddle.
Lord, man.
Close path, create, close. Okay, this stuff belongs in a function. Close path. Close path. Close path. That's where close path is. Yeah, right.
Let's get code out. The rest of your code is on this. Okay, now it's a strong.
Like 28, close path, still.
Well, the bottom and the top.
You're going to go back to what we started. All the way across the
I don't know why this is so slow.
all the way. Keep going.
Yes, number 20. That's really slow.
And control shift C.
This is for this one. No.
Shift on.
That's a little fast.
Control, fill. Well, started yesterday, right? Control C copy. Control V space. 28. We're gonna put at the top of this green panel. Should have been running yesterday, right before the left class. Then a function called green panel. Grabbing this. Control C copy. Control V. P. P. PW. PH. Good. Control C copy. Give this one line code bar. Control V.
It's actually
You know what these values are, so. Very top.
I know.
PX equals, X equals 50. Cut these over there. They should work. All right, here we go. Now, what really would have helped yesterday if all these programs were working. All right, so now, we got the paddle appearing. Great news. Now we're going to introduce mouse movement. This is where it's going to get downright dirty with one line of code. Actually, 3 lines of code. So in the draw function before create paddle. So in the draw function before we create the paddle, we're going to add in a mouse event listener. So my capital canvas, my canvas, dot, add event listener. Add event listener. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Boom, boom. Add event listener. And the type of event we're adding is a mouse event. No, mouse move. Mouse move. All lowercase. And what we're going to do, we're going to get position. We're going to create a function called get position. Let me do that again. My canvas, We're listening to the canvas. We're listening to the mouse move, all lowercase, and we're going to call a function called get position that is not created yet. You got that line of code? Then you say, yep. All right. Let's create the function called get position. Put an E in there because it's an event. And px is equal to E dot client X. So I think we used like get X before. In JavaScript, it's client X. Run that and the paddle should move. Good job, Phil. Like 3 lines of code. Savannah, you're still typing away. Skylar broke my chair. Rubber. And then draw function I can and mouse so you can get that issue, get turn off
That's the other way around.
this line of code, line 31.
It's fine. That's usually what
Does it work?
you say.
You get the
No,
paddle.
when I say oh no.
Nope.
Yeah. When I say
And you take these 2 lines of
you
code
say it or
and
you
move them
straight.
up to line 23.
Unless it's about a quarter.
It's your hand, Brian.
You know what you're doing. Yeah.
Right there, just drop.
Score with it.
Now,
Let it out.
run it again.
Yeah.
Everything.
So you want to die.
Okay.
That's all you remember with all of JavaScript from here on out. It's just blue semicolon. It's a blue parenthesis,
Yeah, right.
semicolon, and then for loop around that move. And what is it?
All right, Brian, go. You want it?
Alright, just go to the I'll say.
Wrap it.
Power lever show that.
Oh, it's good that there's an error, it's not that it just completely crashes. Neither do I.
That's good.
Create that.
Well, the new
Go up. On line 30.
Why are you so broken?
Yeah, 35.
Broken.
Create that.
Yep.
Will you put a space in there? What's the function there?
There's nothing.
What's this function called? These 2 agree. You call a function. You're ahead of me, Colin.
I don't know if that's the power.
All right, we're gonna keep moving. All right, now. Things I don't like. I don't like Brussels sprouts. So when I'm running this is the problem that we ran into. That the cursor, just look up here like 10 seconds, right? The cursor is the registration point. Cursor is the registration point. I need it to be over here. So let's see if we can do some black magic with half of the paddle width. So like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be where we created the rectangle, create paddle. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a plus PW divided by 2 or a minus PW divided by 2. The paddle width, half of the paddle or not. So I'm going to try both of them. I would say it's not the plus. So I'm thinking maybe it's going to be the minus. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I just altered this ever so slightly. Is it following the paddle now, the mouse? And you say, good, 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 good. Tell me out of here. Like 5 minutes?
I think we're out of here at like
50?
50 something.
50 something. All right. We're going to keep on moving. Keep on moving. I see your hand's going to be an hour. Okay. Unless, is Skylar still here? Are you okay, man? Do whatever you need to do. Are you fixing a chair? I thought you were going to throw up or something.
Somehow it's in the wheel. It's not even it's got like inside of it.
Let me do code. I'll worry about mechanical issues later. All right. So, last part of this is we're going to keep the paddle on the screen. So inside this create paddle function, inside the create paddle function, we make two if statements. So if, and my caps lock is on, if px, if px is less than the paddle width divided by 2, we're going to make sure that px is equal to the paddle width divided by 2. Does that, go ahead and run that, we'll talk about the math. So we're taking and testing to see if the mouse position is less than half the paddle. If it is, px is going to be half the paddle. And I want to run that and make sure it works. Okay, beautiful. Does that keep the paddle on the screen? Left-hand side. Left-hand side. Doesn't go any past the side, right?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so the left-hand side works. Now, for the right-hand side, it's going to get but ugly. All right, here we go. If px plus pw divided by 2. So if the right side of the paddle, px is actually the middle of the screen, middle of the paddle, I'm going to test for the right side. If that right side is greater than my canvas dot width, sorry to keep you waiting. We're going to set px equal to the other side, canvas dot width, and we're going to take off half of the paddle. So we got like a couple lines of code, and that should make the paddle on the screen. You have to have a working copy at this point, no errors. I'll be around to help out some people. Right, so this keeps it on the screen. I'll leave this up. And I'm going to end this recording, and recording is a